Liles against LJ Canty. They are already 2-0 on the evening. We'll hope to improve that. And Liles at 16-0, a pretty good bet to do that, inviting LJ Canty, who's 8-7-1. Let's meet him with Michael Buffer.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the super middleweight division. This bout is scheduled for 6 rounds. The referee is Toby Gibson. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he's wearing the Tiger striped trunks and weighs an even 163 pounds. From San Diego, California, his professional record is 8-7-1, 3 KOs to his credit. Let's hear it for LJ Tiger Canty. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks and weighing an even 167 pounds, from Van Nuys, California. Undefeated as a professional, 16-0, 10 by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Liles.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll give you both your instructions in the dressing room. Give me a clean fight, watch your heads inside, and obey my commands at all times. Good luck to both of you.
So there's a look at Frank Liles. He's 16-0, has the 10 knockouts. And in the other corner, LJ Tiger Canty. So we'll see what the Tiger has here.
Frank Liles was a terrific amateur, had a great amateur career. We featured him several times in the Olympic Festival that we televise each year here on ESPN.
Boy, a good right hand by Liles, just caught Canty on the way in.
There you see the knockout percentage. Liles once not considered that good a knockout puncher. He's been working on that. He's had his share of knockouts. A big one came in January this year, right after he hooked up with the 10 Deuce people after he knocked out Tim Williams, who was once quite a contender in the middleweight division.
Very good win for him. And Canty now just unable to get in as he did at the very beginning of this fight. Nice right hand again.
Canty had a 3-fight win streak before he got knocked out by Floyd Weaver, one of the Weaver triplets, brother Mike.
And I'm sure he saw them all that night. He got hurt with that right hand.
Liles has improved his right hook markedly from when he was an amateur in his early days as a pro. Well, this is the night of the knockouts,
isn't it, though? And you can really see another one coming here, too, if Canty keeps charging head first like that.
And he is leaving himself wide open. Frank Liles, probably a matter of time before he nails him with something really big. The uppercut could be a key weapon. You see him using it, but he has to be careful, Liles, when he uses it, not to leave himself open.
Well, there he threw it right there, and it did catch Canty. Lunging right hand by Canty. And the left hand by Liles knocks Canty backwards. I can predict that this one won't go far.
I think you would be right in doing so. Nice hospitality here at the St. Stephen's Red Air Stadium.
Very nice, nice. This hotel, Frank, kind of a throwback to what Las Vegas was 20 years ago.
Yeah, so nice. Yeah, very much that kind of feeling. And Zach Adelson referred to the Rat Pack that used to do their shows here and all get together on stage. That must have been some time.
That's right. As a matter of fact, when I was a kid, one of my favorite movies was Ocean's 11.
There you go, featuring the whole Rat Pack.
And you and I are probably the only people in America who remember it.
No, there might be a couple. Boy, Frank Liles just doing a number on Canty, landing really pretty much whatever he wants.
Big first round by Frank Liles. And we'll take you into his corner, and I'm sure what Joe Goosen will say is you're doing a good job.
Back again when you hurt, Frank, okay? Relax, put your legs out. Pull up, Frank. Now you know when you hurt them, those uppercuts will finish him off, Frank. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Take a deep breath. Sit back and relax. I mean, you're hitting with everything in the book. Now he's expecting straight shots, folks. Give him something he ain't expecting, something he hasn't seen.
Very interesting advice and good advice from Joe Goosen, and here's why he gives that advice. There's the straight left hand by Canty. Liles has hit Canty with almost everything except a real good uppercut, and that's the point Joe Goosen's making.
Keep on working it. There you go. Give him a different look on the rope when you hit the ropes. Spin off, catch him with an uppercut. Uppercuts are the punch of the day.
Get the down, Tom. Punch of the day, says Joe Goosen.
Only he would do. I'm surprised he didn't say punch du jour.
Punch-o-rama.
Early on, we were listening in one of the boxes with Kevin Childers. Called him Mr. Goosen, and he said, call me Holmes, call me Joe, call me anything, but not Mr. Please.
Numbers in the first round, lopsidedly in favor of Frankie Liles.
Really a good percentage landed by Liles. Better even than I would have thought just sitting there watching. So it's interesting when you look at the numbers and you see that a guy was really, really on board.
Of course, Canty is right there for those punches.
There is not a superb defense being offered by Canty.
Canty a lunging right hand, but he comes at you face first. And in the second round, he seems to be even a little bit slower, so his face is even slower this time.
Yeah, there he will walk into something here, and I'm sure that Liles looking very much for that uppercut, and there it was. And
right
landed
also.
Liles said today to us that he thinks he's ready for a top 10 contender now. He'd like to fight one.
Yeah, you know, I was going to ask you, what does a fight like this really do for a guy like Frankie Liles? He's not going to learn anything, I would think.
not in this one, because Canty is not offering him. He learned from Tim Williams, even in knocking him out in one round, more than he would here. He needs an interim fight probably even before that top 10 guy, somebody in his division that he can really work with.
Nice straight left hand there.
Stop punching. Stop punching.
Of course, Liles was fighting as a middleweight, now in the super middleweight category, which isn't a bad weight to be in these days in boxing. Not super money, but there's lots of good options open to you, and you can get to a world title shot pretty quick.
Liles does leave himself a little bit open, but against a guy like Canty, you can get away with being careless, but when you take that next step up, you just can't.
No, and Frank Liles is not probably putting the power behind some of these shots that he would like.
Short right hand. That was a different look.
You drop down with something now. Left side.
That was a huge right hand. Toby Gibson steps in and stops the fight.
Has to stop it. There's no such thing as a standing 8 count. Had to stop it when he stepped in.
I think Toby realized that too.
Toby knew it, yes. And well, I'm not going to go back to it. But in fact, I think that is the dilemma that Richard Steele found himself in when he jumped in during the Tyson Ruddock. Don't have a standing 8 count even to work with. You've got to stop the fight. And in this case, appropriate, because one more punch and Canty might have been really hurt badly. He was just there to be hit.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Fight's well stopped as it turned out.
And we'll look at the end and we will see it, where Liles really, really hurt Canty. The right hook hurt him, and it was a delayed reaction.
And there's Toby Gibson. Once again, it was, boy, you talk about being almost the same thing as Richard Steele. He thought that Canty was going down, and when he looked around, Canty was on his feet.
And could I tell you the truth? Toby was just luckier than Richard Steele.
Yes, he was.
Although what he saw here that was different than the Ruddock match was he saw a fighter who was just wobbling around the ring as opposed to a guy that was thrown into the ropes. And so it turned out okay for him.
That is interesting, though, because in microcosm, that's exactly what the big brouhaha was here in the big fight just a couple of weeks ago. Here's Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Toby Gibson stops the bout at 2 minutes, 45 seconds of the second round. The winner by TKO, still undefeated. He's now 17-0 with 11 KOs, Frankie Liles.
So Frankie Liles remains undefeated at 17-0, and I think what can be said about this fight is, well, it's a W. That's about all you can say about it. Canty is now 8-1 and might possibly be thinking about a day job.
Yes, indeed. 3 big wins, and this man, Frank Liles, produced one of them. Frank, this was a match in which you had a guy who was coming in and was wide open, but you did what you're supposed to do. You hit him.
Exactly. Well, he was open for a lot of shots, and I wanted to work also. I thought his record would be pretty deceiving because most guys with a record like that, they've been around a long time. They know how to hang in there.
Yeah, and he had 3 wins before he lost to Floyd Weaver. You look like you've got a lot more power in your right hook. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes. Well, I've been working on power and a number of other things with Joe. You know, and also I told you I was working to the body also.
That's true. You did indeed. Joe Goosen, since Frank Liles has come under your tutelage, what is the one thing you've been working on the most? The power, the body shots, what?
Well, yeah, basically, to tell you the truth, if Frank was getting the left hand more involved in his game. He's got a great right hand. You see how he goes to that right uppercut, the right hook a lot. He's got a tremendous jab. It was the left hand that we were working on. Unfortunately, if the rounds would have gone on a little bit more, you would have seen some great liver shots with that left hand that we were working on. And the uppercut a lot, even though it didn't come into play the left hand, but the right hand did tonight. He's been hitting the bags a lot. He's been dedicated, working hard in the gym, running hard. When you do that, you're going to get stronger, you know.
Frank, part of the thing you talked about this morning was the fact that you think you're ready for a top 10 contender right now. Do you feel that still?
Well, I feel like I still have some things to learn and some things to work on, but I'm a man of the moment. As the competition gets better, I get a lot better, sharper, and stronger. So I'll leave that to my handlers now. You know what I mean?
That's a good line, man of the moment. Is he ready for a top 10 guy?
Well, I think it's pretty apparent that he is. You see, he's got...
That's what I meant. He definitely is.
He's such... Yeah, I knew that, Al. And just since you knew it, I just wanted to remind you of it. But he's got something about him in that ring that he's got a lot of charisma. You can see he's fluid. You can see he's under control, and he's just going to get better. We've only been together 2 months, and as we work and get to know each other longer and better, we're going to work together and prove each other. But I see him busting in this top 10 in the next 6 months easily.
As a super middleweight?
Super middleweight maybe as we start out, but I think when we get closer and closer to the top 10, I think we can drop down a little bit. I don't think it's beyond Frank to make middleweight. He's a 6'2", southpaw, good-looking guy. He's got great movement. I think he can go a long way and be champ for a long time.
All right, let's take a look, Frank. Let's relive a pleasant moment for you as we go back and see how you ended this bout. Did you think it was appropriate for the referee to step in? We did.
Oh, well, yes, I did. He was getting hit with a lot of shots, and I was definitely going to take him out anyway. So yeah, I started to hit him again, but I said no. You know what I mean? I caught myself, but sometimes it's usually hard for me to catch myself.
Well, what's an interesting point. You decided what's the point in hitting him at that point, didn't you?
Exactly. Because I had him set up. He was ready to go. He didn't have much left. I was able, at first he started putting the pressure on me, and I had to move side to side. I had to use a lot of movement.
If you notice, that was right when Frank was going to use that left uppercut.
There you go. See, he would have gotten it in for you. Frank, congratulations.
Can I say hello to everybody? Well, my new friends in Van Nuys, Neil Miller, and my old trainer Dave Shoulders, and my people in Syracuse, New York.
All right, congratulations. Great win for Frank Liles. 10 Goose Boxing goes 3-0 tonight, and Joe Goosen gets more camera time than I.